what's the difference between a dirt bike, a dual sport bike, and an adventure bike. Dirt bike gets you in the dirt, a dual sport will take you on the road to the dirt, and an adventure bike takes you everywhere. And in order for my CRF450L to become an adventure bike, right, I need to be able to carry gear, camping gear, clothes, stuff like that. There aren't a lot of really good options for panniers on dirt bikes. So what I found was Adventure Spec makes pannier, makes a rack. There we go. Right? Goes out just like that. So here's one side. Super light. I mean, all it is a piece of aluminum bent this way and that way. And it actually feels kind of sturdy. Alright, so I'm going to install this and we'll see what they look like. There's the Adventure Spec racks. Right, it just goes on with 2 bolts and some standoffs. So you got some space between your bodywork. And then here's the exhaust side. Comes back kind of far. And down here. And it's a little flexy. That's what they look like from underneath. That one kind of got a little bit of a kick out to it. Maybe to keep it away from the exhaust. Not that it needs to. And of course the real question is, alright, now to answer the real question is, how do they ride? And I love this seat. Sitting down, okay, you can feel this nut, and you can feel this a little bit. I think if you have high boots like motocross or tall adventure boots on, I don't know that you'll feel it. I usually try to stand pretty straight up, and this little part here might force your knee forward a little bit. So I think if you have low top shoes on and it's just your leg up against this part right here, I think it's going to bother you. I don't think you're going to like it. I think if you have high top boots on now, motocross, like I said, motocross or adventure boots, I think you'll be fine. But I'll give you the quick review. Hey, what a great idea. Who's the idiot that put a bolt, right, a hex head bolt, right where my calf is going to go? Why isn't that a Allen cap screw or something rounded off? That just hurts. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. And the other part of the review is if you were to try to pick the bike up by the lower part, it's just aluminum. It's just going to bend right up, going to bend right down. It's kind of hard to get your hand here to use that as a lifting point on your bike. So it's a great idea, but I don't know that it adds all that much value, unless let me preface something. It doesn't add that much value unless you don't have one of these U-shaped racks, right? If you were just going to attach something to the side and you have nowhere else to attach it, then it's a great idea. But if you're going to go out and spend the money on a system like the Moto or the giant loop bag, they don't actually make all that much sense. So yeah, so there you go. Moto Reckless 80 Adventure Spec rack. It works, but you don't gain anything with it. Here is the update to the review I did on the Adventure Spec pannier rack. This is the first time I've really used it. And I put, well over 1,000 miles on it with the Moto bags hanging off of it. This bolt is still a pain in the ass, but as long as you're wearing motocross boots, you don't feel it. That doesn't mean it's not wearing a hole and stuff. So if you're going to do this, I would swap this out with a flathead or something else. That bolt has got to go. And I ordered some titanium bolts to fit in there, and they were still too tall. That was the best option. So anyways, let's get on with the review here. So that is still a pain in my butt. This is how I've attached the Moto bags to the pannier rack, right? Normally I run this lower part down here to the frame. Here's the problem with this, and I'm still kind of meh about the Adventure Spec rack, is if I crash and my bags go this way, see how flexy that is? And I don't want to pull on it too hard because I don't want to tear them up. I like that I can get an extra little kind of wrap in here, and if I wanted to, I could add a toolbox in here and put it on the back of the rack, right? But again, the biggest issue is that it's just held on here and behind the seat, and if something were to take a hit here, right, everything flexes, everything moves, right? There needs to be some stiffening. This needs to be, I mean, usually there's a big hoop that comes around the back of your tire that keeps those sides from flexing out. I'm moving the camera, from flexing out. This does not have that. So you're kind of really taking a chance that you're not going to torque this all up. The other reason I got that was, if you remember from the last time, my plastics had all melted on this side by the exhaust, and I think that was more a function of the muffler with the catalytic converter in it being ridiculously hot. And now we've got the Yoshi system on there. I've replaced the plastics, so they're all bright and shiny and new. Here, we're gonna pull this apart, take everything out. That dry bag, tent pole holder. While we're standing here talking about the Moto Reckless 80 for the Colorado Backcountry Discovery rights, this was the perfect size. I don't think it's the worst. Okay, so the last time I pulled this off, there were melty holes. The Reckless 80 actually melted onto the muffler, even with all the extra crap I did to it to keep it off. So now my main purpose in adding the Adventure Spec panniers were to keep the luggage off of the muffler and to give it a different tie-in point. I thought that tie-in point would be better, and it actually is. It worked really well. So for that, it works super well. So here comes the Reckless 80 system. Whoop, oh, I'm stuck. I got hung up there. And this is the beauty of this thing, right? That whole thing comes off, bloop, goes in a pile, goes in your tent, goes in your hotel room, and everybody says, hey, let's go rip the trails. And all of a sudden, look, I have a dirt bike again. No, I don't see any melty holes this time. Now I added two. I actually have two heat shields. There's one here and there's another one here to keep everything pushed out away from the muffler, just in case. But even so, nothing melted. This corner didn't melt. Again, you know, it's a dual sport bike. It's a dirt bike. It was never meant for passenger legs to hang over this, for kind of anything. And in stock form, this plastic melts unbelievably easy. All right. All right, well, let's pull it off and see what the plastics look like underneath. I've tried to ride around on the bike with just pants on, just, you know, commuting or whatever, going down to the grocery store. And that bolt will dig into the side of your leg so bad, you'll want to kill yourself. Okay. Oh, huh. So there's that. Can you see this rubbing right here? So it rubbed the number plate, and it rubbed a little bit right here. So you could put something on the back side of the rack to act as a buffer between these two, and that would probably get rid of that. I'm not super worried about it. These Attack graphics, everybody keeps asking me, where'd you get your graphics? They're Attack graphics from Rocky Mountain Motorcycle, ATV motorcycle. You know, you can get them in different sets. You can get them with different letters. You just customize all this crap. I'm going to pull this side off. I'm going to take a look at that. In the meantime, yeah, it's the same deal. Same deal, right? Hey, come on, turn up. There we go. So it's rubbed right there. But again, I'm not super worried about my plastic. You're gonna destroy your plastic, right? It's a dirt bike. That's why it's made out of plastic and not painted metal or something really expensive or fancy or hard to change. It's a dirt bike. It's gonna crash. You're gonna get wear marks, especially where your knees go. You're gonna crash it, and right? You're gonna rip that. You're going to get rock gouges. It's just gonna happen. I mean, unless you got, is there a mall crawler version of a dirt bike? I mean, I'm sure there is, but I don't know what the name would be, right? So, not a mall crawler. We go four-wheeling in that. Not a pretty bike. We go off-roading in that too. Okay, so this went on way longer than I thought it was going to. So real quick, just to sum it up, they worked. They're not ideal with the Reckless or whatever soft panniers you have. There are going to be some trade-offs to how everything works together. 1,000 miles with those on, they worked perfect. I didn't crash. That would have been the real test. If I'd taken a really hard fall with weight on the back, this might be a different story, but I didn't crash. So I can't tell you how they would hold up if they crashed and actually slid and got pulled up. Because again, they have no structural strength either direction. Going down, right, they push on the plastic. Coming up, if I really pulled on it, I would just bend them. Something to keep in mind. Will I use them again? I don't know, maybe. I like to switch things up. But anyway, so there's my final review after actually having used them. I really haven't changed my mind at all. They're okay. They're meh. If they could figure out a way to strengthen them so that you could actually lift up on it, pull it this way and not have it bend, they would be awesome. They would be really nice. And change that front bowl. The way they are now, they're okay. It's up to you. You decide. I can't decide for you.